let's start with the company. Let's start with the agenda. So changes na prezentację. So yeah, so here you can see the agenda. So I will start with the presentation of our company for those of you who doesn't know R&M. After that, I will move to presentation module of my presentation, where I will tell you about the edge computing and Internet of Things. And after that, Michał will introduce you to products which can be used for computing. And after Michał, I will jump in and I will show you our software, which can be also useful for micro data centers, for management, or for documentation. And before the end, together with Michał, we'll show you some smaller products designed for IoT. So Internet of Things, every small device must be somehow connected to the internet wirelessly or by some wires. And today we will show you what is possible with R&M products. And on the end of our today's presentation, we'll leave about 10 minutes, maybe more, for the discussion. So if you will have any questions, there will be the time on the end of our webinar. So let's get started with the company presentation. So R&M, or Reichle de Massary, was established in 1964 in Switzerland by Mr. Hans Reichle and Mr. Renato de Massary. And at the moment, the whole company is in hands of Reichle family, and exactly in Peter's and Martin hands, who are the sons of Mr. Hans Reichle. Around the globe, we have more than 1,200 employees, and we are today present on in more than 40 countries. So we can really say that we're a company. And R&M is focusing on the passive products for data transmission, which means that we are not producing any network switches, any routers, servers, etc. We are focused on cabling, on the infrastructure, fiber optic and copper. And this cabling, this infrastructure create the base, as you can see, like in this pyramid on the screen at the moment. We are on the layer 1 of the OSC model, and the higher levels, like active devices, like application, like the layer of data transmission, is relying on the base. So our mission is to provide the best possible quality of the products to ensure that all the new applications, all the new devices can really work perfectly and smoothly. So we are known on the market, we are recognized on the market by high quality products. And on the right side of the pyramid, you can see a small table with 2 columns. And on the left column, you can see the average time of life cycle of the layer, counted in years. On the right column, you can see the average cost of implementation, the layer, selected layer. And as you can see, this is like opposite the pyramid in opposite way. If we are talking about the cost, what I have in mind that the cabling is used in the longest period of time, but the cost of implementation is smallest compared with the higher levels. So this means that it really is important to think about the cabling, about the infrastructure, because after the cabling is installed, it will work for many years. For example, 12 years or 10 years. This is a really long period of time, and during that time, many active devices will be removed, removed many times before the cabling will be refreshed, let's say. And this is about the quality. Most of the accidents, road accidents, are caused by the bad quality of road or the confusing crossings, bad road signs, etc. And with the cabling is similar. Most of the failures of the data transmission is caused by the passive part. For example, a broken latch in the patch cord, or dirty connector, or bad quality fiber optic connector. And this is the reason why sometimes data transmission is interrupted. And here we can see our presence. As I mentioned, we are now the global company. We are present on all continents, in more than 40 countries at the moment. Red squares represents our representative offices, and the blue ones represents production plants. And if you are talking about the production plants, we at the moment have decentralized production, which means just few products are produced in Switzerland. Many others are spread to different countries. For example, Poland is the competence center of copper technologies. Bulgaria is the competence center of fiber optic solutions, and Czech Republic at the moment is our competence center of fiber optic cables. We have a production plant there of fiber optic cables, many different kind of cables, many different designs. And the other points on the map which you can see are usually located and focusing on the local production to provide the product with correct price, with correct technical parameters for certain country, for example, India, China, etc. And here you can see our customers. I believe that most of the logos you know, for example, IKEA, Orange, those are our customers who are current products for now more than 10 years. And what kind of products we are producing? Of course, with our portfolio, we can cover all needs for LAN cabling, data center cabling, and FTTX, which means fiber to the fiber somewhere. Yes, fiber to the home, fiber to the desk, fiber to the antenna. This is all we have for passive infrastructure. In LAN cabling, we have today everything from fiber optic to copper. Typical design of today's building is that the backbone is made based on the fiber optic cable, and the horizontal cabling is, of course, based on copper. And in fiber optic, there's no limits, let's say, so any application is possible to run. On the fiber optic, on the copper part, depends on the category of the components which will be selected. There will be 1 gigabit, 2.5 gigabits, 5 gigabits, 10 gigabits, 25, and 40. Yes, even 25 and 40 gigabits today is possible to run just on single twisted copper cable. And more on that I will tell later today. For data center, we have specially designed products like high density platforms, modular platforms, and panels or platforms which are usually not necessary to use in LAN cabling. So in data center world, we have two factors: data speed and density of ports. Of course, in data center, the space is very expensive, space in cabinet. So we are focusing on this to reduce the space used by passive part. So we introduced, for example, NetScale platform, which is delivering even 120 ports, LC duplex or MPO per one hide unit in rack cabinet. This is the the highest possible amount of ports per one high unit on LC duplex, of course, or MPO. Of course, we know that in the future new connectors will come, then the capacity will be even more increased even more. And for the data center world, we have also a special monitoring system to be able to detect if something was connected or disconnected. So we have also software to control that, and the software is designed to document all the connectors, everything in the smallest possible detail. Okay, let's and few words about fiber to the something. Let's say fiber to the home. Here we have completely different world, but by our portfolio we can cover all needs, beginning from the office of the operator, network operator, or internet service provider. We can deliver their ODFs. We have Prime ODF, the brand new ODF, which we introduced 2 years ago, and we have portfolio of splice closures with IP68 sealing protection, and we have special connectors which can be mounted on the field, which means outdoor, outside, in harsh conditions without any problems. And here in this case, in case of FTTH, for example, solutions, we are delivering products for outdoor mostly. Okay, and let's jump into the main content of the presentation, and I will start explaining the edge computing now. So first of all, you have to know that in next decade the technology will be improved. Everything will be boosted by the technology, and in the result, we will have much safer in the future. We will have much safer workspaces. We will have new technologies, very smart technologies. So our everyday life will be automatized and will be improved. It will be better. And still, the infrastructure is not ready to do that, to provide all necessary parameters. So we have still something to do, but edge computing will be the idea which will help in the future to achieve the goal, which means automatizing and the smart, make everything smart or smarter. And what is the edge data center? Edge data center is a small infrastructure which is processing the data, storing the data in the closest proximity of the place where the data are created. For example, close to home. So some data are close to office. Data are created and data are processed directly in the edge data center, which means that latency between the end user or the end device and the server is really low. So we can achieve better of service, but also in the future to run new technologies in-house. In future, it will be possible to implement such kind of solutions wherever we will. The cloud and edge are completely different technologies. Cloud today most of the companies are using infrastructure in cloud or the services which are located in the cloud. So typically serving doesn't have infrastructure in their premises. It means that they don't need to buy, like a correct power devices, correct correct, the whole infrastructure behind the data center, cooling, power, etc. Everything can be provided by the provider of cloud services. So nobody will carry or worry about that because everything is covered by the server in the cloud. Different. This is the smaller infrastructure closer to the end user, and it is focused on processing data as fast as possible and sending it back to the device, to the end user. And if necessary, of course, edge data center will communicate with cloud, of course, to get some additional information. But the first point for the request of the end user is the edge. And here on this picture, you can see on this slide, you can see what is behind the idea of edge computing. On the right corner, you can see the end devices like computers, tablets, and other devices which are connected directly to the internet, and those devices are sending data. Data is processed in the edge servers and returned back to the maximum 20 milliseconds. Then, of course, data from edge computing can be sent to cloud if necessary. The typical layout you can see on the bottom. So, end device is connecting directly to the cloud. So the bandwidth sensitive application can struggle at a high latency here. So sometimes we can take as an example content provider, like for example Netflix. Sometimes it can happen that we have to wait long to get the movie loaded in our TV because of the bandwidth. Some issues, the company and the provider, we can have some issues because of the bandwidth. Having edge data center in some proximity of our company, it could significantly improve the end users. And more ends are connected directly to the internet, even without a person. I mean that today a device connected to the internet not necessarily means that this is tablet or computer or I don't know, printer. It can be today anything. There are or other charts configured to be able to connect to the internet, and after that the device is working and communicating with the server as it needs, without necessity to do anything by them. As an idea, as a concept, provide better experience and good connections for all those devices. So in the future, most of the devices from Internet of Things area will be connecting to the edge first, and then IoT of Internet. Of course, so the first the term IoT was used for the first time in 1999, but before that, all the technology was developed. For example, DNS, IPv6 to address all devices, because IP protocol version 4 will be not enough to address. I'm showing this you as an example. Largely amount of devices increased from 2017 till now. So in 2017, amount of devices connecting to the internet was about 8 billion pieces of different kind of day. In 2020, there are more than 30 billion devices connected to that. So we can see how much this number increased from 2017. So this is only 3 years. And again, devices connected to the internet today not always means that this is computer or printer or smartphone. This means any kind of device. Exactly here how many company appliances to some office solutions, but you can see how this is important for everybody to create new devices which are making some additional work out. So no person is required to do the task. It is done automatically by some application or some device, which is able to communicate with the server, with the other application or other device via internet. So again, the idea is here to, instead of connecting directly to the cloud, like it is today, with high latency, the idea is to have something in between will be the edge data sent to task of data processing and storing before sending them to cloud. And here you have a graph which is showing or explaining the difference between the usage of services in cloud and the future solutions, which will be so at the bottom corner you can see services like email, like internet search, like social media, etc. Such kind of services can still work remotely direct because it's so important. We can wait additional milliseconds or even seconds sometimes to load the page, and this is not a problem for anybody. So such kind of services will remain in cloud. But new solutions like, for example, man-to-machine interface, all the sensors have as low latency as possible. So here, edge computing will take care about that. And if you will look further into the future, that also will make the very important part, which is machine learning based on the data sent by the end devices. And based on that, the edge computing can be improved by itself during the years based on the data created by end users, by the devices on the end. So, for example, can be somehow improved, and any other solutions in our daily lives can be improved because of the machine learning technologies of producing or of communicating, etc. How it how the technology will change, will improve our lives. And who is the first in like edge computing? The first will be, of course, content provider or internet content providers like streaming services like YouTube, like here, right, bandwidth sensitive, so having edge spread that. Then we have industry in general. Of course, industry doesn't mean here that there'll be new robotic arm or any other special machine to create something. Here, when we are thinking about industry, we can think about simple algorithm in the background and doing something for us. So nobody has to do some repetitive work, making Control-C, Control-V, for example, of course, in some between some applications. So some such kind of services can, let's say, give more time to focus on different tasks. So in the end, in the result, we can achieve safer workplaces for people and new technologies, new ways how we are making things or and designing products, for example. Machine can do that for us. And due to low latency provided by edge computing, also things like microsurgeries will be possible, or remote surgery will be also possible. I think that most of the surgical robot who is able to remotely make some surgery, and yearly is something about millions today. And now in 2020, million surgeries per year. That edge computing with this low latency guarantee will give possibility to use such kind of devices or robots more frequently in the world. And the last thing is, in general, is better user experience. So low latency, better user experience we can create thanks to edge computing. And what types of the edge data center we can recognize today? First, and the first which is coming to my mind is the container, because as I mentioned, this is usually or typically much smaller infrastructure compared to normal large data center. So this is a container located somewhere, for example, close to some organization or close. And such container has everything inside. Of course, racks with so some redundant power can be also there implemented, and of course fire extinguishing and other systems are closed in the container. So this is self-maintaining data center, which is located somewhere close to the place where the data are created. Other type data center, which means many containers joined together to enlarge the capacity or of storage or computing or improve the computing power. Other type, which is also very interesting, is a micro data center, which is now available in many producers of cabinets. You can find in their portfolio usually such kind of products. And micro data center means that this is specialized cabinet, usually with noise reduction with air cooling, with power, of course, with some camera to be able to see who is doing something in the cabinet, and with fire extinguishing system as well. Everything closed in small, on typical, let's say, IT rack, but this one is a little bit better or improved to have better protection for what is inside, and also usually cabinet. Such kind of micro data center can be implemented really quickly because it will be already equipped with the basic devices like patch. So what user needs to do such kind of services, also data from the other. So we are about the solutions for edge. The idea here is just have typical as a data center, or which is named micro data center here, but some devices like mobile phone, tablet, or router, which is placed somewhere, usually in the building or even at home. The idea is here also to give more processing and power or more storage to such like router, for example, but because some such kind of devices, which has to be installed anyway, can also do some processing work. So it can happen that sometimes router at home will compute something for the application, turn it back immediately. No data will be sent to edge remotely, but it will be itself. This is just an example, but the idea behind the edge computing. Even smartphones and tablets and maybe laptops will be used to do such tasks like data processing for other applications. Of course, in the background, so without the knowledge of the user. And of course, in the mobile devices or in the router, which I give it as an example, the processing power is limited significantly. The same with storage, but everybody has such kind of device, so it will be such kind of service can be implemented really quickly into such device. Then we have micro data center. Here we have better processing power, much more storage, but we need to implement it. We need to find a place for this cabinet and provide all connections, all the data center, this micro data center needs. Of course, power and internet connection at least, yes. So this is what we need to do. And but such implementation will take, for example, weeks, not years or months. So the implementation of micro data center will be can be done quite quickly. And the small conventional data center, of course, we can tell that it has unlimited power of processing data and unlimited storage, but implementation or building up the data center is, of course, time consuming and quite expensive to do. So we can here select what is better for us. Okay, and let's move on to the next slide. Okay, here about the infrastructure. So to be able to work, micro data center or in general edge data center will require some specialized devices. First, which is coming to our mind is of course cabling to provide application at least 10 gigabits, 25 or 40 gigabits or more. It can be defined by the service provided. Then we have selection of fiber optic and copper cabling. So both we can select between both, which is better. And when the last thing is remote management. So if we have such micro data center placed or installed somewhere on the field, we would like to manage it remotely. So we have to have, of course, some CCTV there. We need to have remotely remote opening. So access control has to be implemented into such micro data center, and cabling management and active devices management as well. So for cabling management and documentation can be used specialized software, and for monitoring of the ports can be done by specialized hardware installed on the panels. Okay. Let's make a short break because I think we have some difficulties, technical difficulties. Let me check that and I will return. Okay, so sorry for that. Agent will fits perfectly to edge computing, because usually such edge computing data center will be as small as possible, and it could be, as I showed you before, network cabinet with some additional features. So it can be placed anywhere, and it will be perfect to be able to manage this remotely from the software perspective, of course, and hardware. And if we are talking about fiber optic connectivity, we can here we should focus on the density, because as I give you an example with the cabinet, which plays role of micro data center, we should reduce of space used by the passive part as much as possible, because we are very limited in space in such micro data center. So it is better to put another server, another storage, than use the space by the passive part, which is, we can tell that, doing nothing. It is just to provide the connections. So for that we have specialized panels with high density of ports, and today Michał later on will present you the solutions. So you will see how nice it is and how easy it is to use. Today, using fiber optic, without any issues, without any problems, we can run a 10 gigabit application, 25 gigabits, 50, 100, 200 gigabits. Those applications today are available, and depends on what active device we will buy and install. This application will be possible to run. Of course, there are some limitations due to the length of the fiber, due to the attenuation in the link, but this exactly every application has its own requirements. Usually we can find such requirements in the description or in the datasheet of the active device or the transceiver. You can find what is the attenuation, maximum attenuation possible in the link, and what is the wavelength, what is the type, fiber type, etc. So it is necessary to look on that, of course, every time when new device is implemented. For high-speed cabling, copper cabling, today, of course, we can focus on category 6A, which was the highest category, providing bandwidth good enough for 10 gigabits. But today, we have also category 8, which gives bandwidth for 25 gigabits and 40 gigabits, which is quite a lot for copper cabling. And today, as a R&M, we also have such solutions in our portfolio. You can go to our catalog, online catalog, and check our cables and our modules exactly for category 8. So depends what is required in such micro data center. Customer will be able to select between fiber optic and copper, which will be better, which will be cheaper maybe in the future, which will be faster to deploy, or which will be easier to maintain during the years. And another very important part of the micro data center will be remote management, as I mentioned before. And for that, we have also special, and the name of its product is Intellify Net. And the software is focused on documentation and management of the resources placed in the server room or in data center. And I will present you this application today in the details, but here you can see an overview, how does it look like, and what kind of services it provides. In general, the software is designed to start, if we are talking about licensing, we can start just with single cabinet and then extend the licensing as it is needed. So this is perfect solution for micro data center, where usually we will have 1 or 2 cabinets standing close together. So thanks to the software, everything can be documented in the smallest detail possible. We designed special templates for panels, but also for active devices here, and more on that later on today. But in general, we can place any device, any product into the cabinet. So on the end, we will have knowledge what exactly we have installed in the cabinet, what panels, what active devices, with which, let's say, transceivers, what kind of PDUs are there, etc. So quite a lot of information can be stored in this application, and more on that later. And today, the main application, the main way how devices are talking together is the Ethernet. Of course, there is another way, which is fiber channel. But fiber channel, of course, is the type of application designed for data center, working in quite close distance compared with Ethernet. And by the internet, any device can connect to the internet directly or through some additional bridges. But Ethernet, we can say that this is the king. And we know that most of the links running Ethernet are based on copper today. So we can say that most of the 10 gigabit application today is running on copper cables. And on the picture, you can see the time periods and the application which was developed during the time, and different areas of our daily lives where those application was used. So the future is that we will have, of course, increased bandwidth to have fast connection between edge data center and the cloud, and of course between edge data center to the customer. But some devices, some small devices, like for example, fire detector, will not require, the 10 gigabits or even 1 gigabit. So there are new ideas to use wireless applications, which gives wired and wireless application, which gives less bandwidth, so more devices can be connected. And if we are talking about physical connections to the end device, we can here say about single pair Ethernet, which is also the trend which we will see in the next years. Single pair Ethernet is designed to connect all devices in the building to create a smart building as a final result. So in the future, all devices will also use Ethernet as a single lane of communication. There will be no additional transmission protocols like BACnet, for example, or DALI. Everything will be running or communicating using Ethernet. Okay, and we have issue again with the picture here. So sorry about that. So let's make another short break, technical break. Here is giving some issues. Okay, let's continue about the communication and internet communication. And here on the screen you can see the example that it took 40 years for IEEE to develop 6 Ethernet applications. And at the moment now, where we have this presentation today, they're working simultaneously on many others, not just one or two applications, that they're trying to develop couple of new applications simultaneously because of the requirements of the market, of the different kind of solutions on the market. So here you can see what kind of application IEEE is working on. So first is the 50 gigabit Ethernet application, which is running on single mode and multi-mode fibers. Of course, depends on type of the fiber. In result, we will have the maximum possible length of the link. For multi-mode, of course, the length of the link is limited quite significantly compared to single mode. Then another application is 100 gigabits, for both type of fibers, 200 gigabits and 400 gigabits. So you can see that the bandwidth requirement is increasing quite significantly now today because of the communication running between the data center, large data center, between service providers, telecom companies, etc. This is those study graphs are not working just before they want to. They really need to create something because of the demands on the market. The good example of the demand was 400 gigabit application, which was already developed by IEEE for some company, for some large telecommunication operator. because there was a need on the market to have this application. So if we will look back and look into the future, we can observe increased bandwidth. And here on the screen, you can see the roadmap of different speeds. And also I will show you what kind of interfaces are required to run certain application. So 5 gigabit today can be running easily with copper cabling with standard RJ45 connector. Then application very popular now, which is 10 gigabit, can also run on both fiber optic and copper. And for fiber optic, there is a plenty of solutions, but typically 10 gigabit is running using in fiber optic using 2 fibers, so duplex connection. And for copper, again, we will use RJ45, and the application will run in the distance of 100 meters. For longer distances, we will have to implement fiber optic. Then there is a new application, 25 gigabit, and this application is designed for category 8, but also it can run on some products designed for 10 gigabits in the past. And there is a special study group which already delivers the technical report. And we also checked with our products, and we can give the warranty to end user that our module category 6A ISO installed on cable category 7A will give performance good enough to run 25 gigabits, but for shorter distance here, not for 100 meters, but for 25 meters. But for the server room, for the data center, the distance of 25 meters or 30 meters in channel is enough. So primarily, this application is running on category 8 for about 50 meters in channel, but it can run on some products of different producers, which was designed for category 6A, but producer needs to give the warranty based on his own test in laboratory, of course. Then we have application 40 gigabits. Application itself it's not new, but the new thing is here that 40 gigabit is running on copper. Before that, it was possible to run this only on fiber optic, and for the first time, 40 gigabit was implemented thanks to MPO connectivity, which gives many fibers to work simultaneously. But later on, applications to work just on 2 fibers came to life, and today also for copper, it is possible to have this application. New application which will come is 50 gigabits for multi-mode. Then 100 gigabit, this application already exists. It requires multi-mode MPO multi-fiber connectors or single mode fibers. Then there is another application which is not ready yet. This is 200 gigabits, and further into the future, this is 400 gigabits. Maybe not the future, because I mentioned already that this application was developed. So 400 gigabit application is already on the market, let's say. So there are some devices which are able to work with such large bandwidth or speed. Okay, so thank you for listening. I hope that you enjoy and you understand what is behind the edge computing. And now Michał will introduce you to the part where to the part about the products, R&D products which can be implemented in edge computing. So thank you for now, and later on I will return and show you something more. So thank you for now.
We have again some issue, so we have to wait to fix it. Okay, now it's working everything. Hello, welcome on my presentation. Thank you, Wojciech, for perfect presentation about edge computing and IoT. In my presentation, I will show you products which you can use to build structure for edge computing. As Wojciech told, we don't have too much space to build this structure for edge computing. On this slide shows products that can be used to build such a network. In this type of installation, it's important to keep space used to minimum. The products to be used must have a high packing density of ports to keep as much space as possible for active devices. They have to be small, quick to terminate, and easy to use. At the same time, they have to keep the highest performance. In conclusion, the most important advantages of these products is flexibility, fast installation, compact design. We need to use products which we can terminate very fast. If something will break, if some connectors will stop running, we have to very fast repair these connections. That's why we have to use these products which I showed you in the previous slide. Let's start with Netscale. Let's start with Netscale. I hope you like it. You will like it. Netscale 72 isn't new, but I think that there could be a few things about it worth to mention. First, Netscale panel, Netscale 120, was introduced quite a while ago, since the moment another two panels appeared in our R&M portfolio, Netscale BCM and Netscale 72. Netscale 120 is unique on the market because it's of its port density, which can be found in any other panel looking on competitors' offer. From and back cable management is on the highest level as well. Netscale BCM standards for blade cable management. This is very specialized panel dedicated to network to work with SAN switches in the data center environment. Netscale 72 is now offering smaller port density than previous panels, but gives more flexibility. There is more to come in the future on Netscale family. Next will be a 48 port modular panel, which should replace foremost HD panel. Netscale 120 significantly reduced space in rack required for patching, which means more space for active equipment. The downside of this panel is that it's work only with pre-terminated cables. Netscale BCM is designed to work closely with storage area switches, which are highly packed with fiber optic ports, like this, which you can see on this slide. This panel should be mounted on the side or under sun switch. Depends on the agreement, horizontal or vertical. For this panel, R&M offers special bundle patch cords, which different lengths of fan out to keep connectivity clear and tidy. This panel works only with preterminated trunk cables and bundled. Patch cord sets also should be considered. Both mentioned panels are limited to LC duplex, MPO, and MPO interfaces. Now I will focus on the newest panel, which is Netscale 7072. Okay. This panel is first in the family, offering both connection types, preterminated and spliced. This is very interesting because previously Netscale family was just for preterminated connections. Thanks to its port capacity and modularity, it has been advantageous over the very well-known Unirack 2. Panel is split to two ports vertically and to 3 ports horizontally, giving 6 slots in total, which I will show you later. Each slot can be fitted with large inserts called base 8 or base 12. Then each base can be fitted with smaller module splicing. Smaller modules. Splicing is done on special insert designed just for splicing, and this splicing insert I will show you later too. Base 8 can hold up 3 modules with 8 ports each. Modules with just 8 ports are specially designed for 40 gigabits and 100 gigabits applications. Base 12 can hold 2 modules with 12 ports each. Modules which 12 ports will work the most standard application, which is 10 gigabits. Splicing can be done on specially designed insert with a capacity of 24 ports, and by the way, multi-mode version is equipped with OM4 pigtails. With Netscale 72, most of popular interfaces can be used like LC duplex, SC simplex, E2000, and MP and MPO. As other family members, Netscale 72 gives site cable management on the front and transparent doors. But on these transparent doors, we can put some description. I will show you how to do that later to have more space for description of our connections. Like it was in Netscale 120, portfolio of QR patch cords has been extended to LC duplex with figure 8 cable, LC simplex and MPO, but with Netscale 72, even standard patch cords can be used. All components of the panel visible on the site are packed in one box. So this is very good information for customers to do not get 1,000 boxes. If you will order this panel, you will get just one box with whole equipment inside. Netscale 72 is giving option to monitor all connections via RFID. To offer such a function, it is necessary to retrofit selected insert with dedicated sensor bar and control modules. I hope that was interesting slides. Now we will move to show how this Netscale is looking in reality, because I will show you this Netscale 72 in live transmission, but online. And later on, Wojciech will tell you more about R&M Intellify. So let's move on closer to this panel. On the front is this transparent front. On the back of the front, we can put some place for description of our ports. We have option to describe some connections on the top of this module. Inside this module, we can put inserts with different connectors. Here we can see MPO connectors. This insert is dedicated for pre-terminated MPO cables. You can something is wrong. Okay. We have more inserts. Here you can see splicing insert. So one slot can be equipped with MPO connectors. Second slot can be equipped with splicing connector. If we don't need to use any other slots, we can put there some empty insert for future installation. And if we will have some new connections in the future, then we can equip this slot with some other connections. Of course, we have different. Of course, we can equip with different base 8 and base 12 inserts. These modules. So we can run with different application in one panel. Yeah. So we can run with 10 gigabits on base 12 insert, and we can run 40 and 100 gigabit with base 8 inserts. So as you can see, this panel is modular panel. You can do a lot of connections because we have 72 slots and the name of this panel is telling us about this, because this is NetScale 72. From flexibility point of view, this panel, in my point of view, is the best NetScale product. In the future, we will have NetScale 48, and this panel will be modular too. I hope that you will like this product. So if you will put these modules inside the panel, you have one more option, because you can put this insert into a service place. Yeah. So in this place, you can easily make connections, and this panel is very good product from different point of views. And as you can see here, we have connected cable management, so you don't need more space for some cable managements which can take some place in your rack. So for edge computing, this solution is very good, because here you can make splice connections. Here you can make pre-terminated connections. Here you can run with here you can run with different speeds, with different applications. You have a lot of space for describing this connection. So here you have everything to which you want to imagine. Okay, that was everything from my side, and now I will give space for Wojciech with Intellify. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Michał. Thank you for a nice product presentation. Now we will move on, and I will tell a few words about our software, and I will show you the hardware. How does it look like in the cabinet? This is what I mentioned before. This is IntelliFiNet. And this software is our own software. We have employees who are programmers, and they are focusing on this application only. And this application is quite fresh, and this is good because thanks to that we was able to use the new technologies available. I mean that we are use HTML5 and all the stuff related to that. So the application is really light for the end device, and it can run really smoothly without any interruptions. But this application is a type of server client application, which means that we need to implement it on the server, and then multiple users simultaneously can connect into the application and work. So application, the interface is really intuitive, really simple to use. The learning curve is also not so steep, so we can learn new features as we need them. So on the beginning, after we log in, the interface is completely empty. We have to open the parts which we want to use, and after some certain of time, we will know how to use all the features of the application. So this is really nice design of application based on new technologies, new trends, how applications are designed. And what we can do in this application, of course, documentation, asset management, capacity management, monitoring, reporting, and user management as well. Let's move on, and you will see how the interface looks like. This is the this is the interface of application, and application works with multiple interfaces, which means that every time we log in, we can switch between interfaces, and in each interface we can put what we need to have there. So after login, everything is opened by the application. We don't have to do any additional, tasks. Everything is loading in the background, so we can just grab our mug with coffee and wait a little bit for every window to load. And after that, we are set to go. We are ready to work with the application. And in the application, we can document, of course, what is inside the cabinet, but first we should create the place, the areas where the cabinet is installed. So we have to put the map, on the map the building, in the building floors, on the floors we can put rooms, and in rooms we can put one or more cabinets. And after that, we have to select what we want to have in the cabinet or what we already have in real cabinet, and then we want to have documentation. So you can see now what the hierarchy is designed here. So what is the structure of the database. Next slide showing the 3D and 2D view of the cabinets, and the application is rendering real-time 3D view just in the application. But to have this rendering, have this 3D view, it is not necessary anymore to have powerful computer, powerful graphic card in the end device. Typical laptop with Intel integrated graphics is more than enough to have 3D view on the cabinets or on the room. And the application is focused on documentation. So here we can document all the details about the connectivity. So we will know how devices are connected to each other and what is in between them, eventually some panels, some other devices. So by selecting the port on the end device or on the outlet, application will present us in graphical way what is the path for the data, for the connection. Another type of the information which application can provide is, as we call it, synopsis view. So we can select the device which we are focusing on at the moment, and the application will show us what are the connections coming in and out from the device. On the next slide, see that also we implemented some mechanisms to be able to report what is going on with our data, with our capacity in the cabinets, capacity in the room. So everything can be reported. An application is designed in a way that we can create multiple templates of reports and just run them when we need them. It is not necessary to create a report every time we want to grab some information from the database. And to be able to document the cabinets in very detail, we are working on templates. So first we have to select correct cabinet, for example 45U in height and 600 millimeters wide and 1000 millimeters deep. And later on into the application, we can grab the type of the device which we want to have there, and we need to put it on the right height in the rack. Then we should look on the device and check if there is something additional which we can put into the device. For example, fiber optic transceiver or some stacking module or some power supply, because for some devices like servers or switches, sometimes there are plenty possibilities of equipment which can be additionally installed there. So we have some options usually. So for example, power supply can be 300 watts or 600 watts. So depends on which we will have in our cabinet. We should select the right one in the application to have one-to-one documentation. And by the way, when we have the device in the cabinet, we can put additional list of documents like PDFs or Word or Excel documents, and connect it to the device, which means that every time when we want to have instruction for the device or service contract for the device, we just need to log in into Intellify, find the correct device, and when we click on the device, we can have the whole list of the documents related to this part, to this device. So this can be really handy, really useful for everyday work of IT department. And implementation of the application is not so painful anymore as it was for other versions of such kind of systems, because we can use importing and exporting by CSV format, which is coming from Excel. By creating special tables according to the template in the Excel and then importing the data back to the Intellify, the application will create the locations, the cabinets, and the panels and devices with already correct names and locations. So we can really shorten way to implement the application. It's not so complicated anymore as it was in previous systems similar to this one. We have asset management implemented here, and more on that will come in the future, because our company is working on our own asset management system for hardware. I mean that we will have special sticker with RFID, with special access point to detect those RFID tags, and we will have live tracking of the active device, which can be also really handy in like hospitals, in the data center as well. Then we have capacity management. Capacity, of course, in meaning that we know how many space we have used or free in cabinet, but also we have knowledge how many space we have in the room, so we can plan additional cabinet or additional cooling unit, because sitting in front of the computer, we can check that without going anywhere and checking anywhere. But of course, data must be accurate. So it is necessary to work in the application and update information as something is updated, is changed in the physical infrastructure. We should go to the computer or to the mobile device, as application also is running on any other mobile devices, not just laptops on Windows, and update information. Without that, any tool is useless without accurate documentation. Then we can create tasks. So I will tell you more about that. But if something was done without knowledge of administrator, can be alerted. I mean, for example, if somebody will go and disconnect cable from the switch or from the panel, application can create alert and send it immediately to the group of people responsible for that part of the network. So this is something really useful for critical applications. But other alerts can show up when we are working with tasks. Application gives possibility to plan changes. So first plan, then execute. And everything can be prepared first in the application. So the list of components, for example, we want to put additional cabinet into our network. So we put on the bill of material list cabinet. We can put power distribution unit. We can put some management stuff, then panels and other devices. And we can create the task in the application. Application already understands that this cabinet will stand here, and this will be the equipment. But after that, the group of people will receive the task from application that in such period of time they have to install the cabinet with all this stuff and configure it. And we can plan this in like in the calendar, give some window in which this task have to be performed. And if the task is performed, the group of people can confirm in the application, okay, this task is done. Then I return to the slide back. System will show us the alert that this task was performed or this task was finished, but with some issues. For example, there was some issue with connecting the cabinet to the power. So some additional work is still required on this task. And application is automatically creating the report or the list of the steps which has to be taken by that group of people responsible for the task. So you can see this on the right side of the slide. You can see the drawings of the panel and drawings of the back side of the server, and there is a description automatically generated by the application which port should be connected with what kind of cable. And then application is working with our hardware, which we have developed. Thanks to the hardware, we can monitor each individual port in panels. So we are monitoring the passive part of the network. So we can detect all connections which are in around the platform. It doesn't matter if this is copper patch panel or if this is fiber optic patch panel, we are able to detect all kind of interfaces, popular interfaces, let's say. I mean that RJ45, of course, for copper, LC duplex, SC simplex, E2000, MPO will work with our system. What is necessary to do is to install additional RFID bar or RFID reader on the panel and equip existing patch cords with RFID tags. And this you can see on the bottom of the picture on the slide how RFID is installed. This is really simple. No tools is required, so anybody can do that. And the standard patch cord can become, let's say, intelligent patch cord. So our system, the hardware part, is designed in a way to be able to implement it even to existing infrastructure. And okay, let's skip that. And now I will show you how does it look like in the cabinet. So here you can see some. This time you can see some hardware, and from the top you can see the device. We can call it analyzer. We can call it some bridge, because this one will be connected to the server, and it will pull all the information from the panels, transform it to the Ethernet application, and send it back to the server. So you have knowledge what is connected with what other port. And those red lights, which you can observe here, are the lights coming from sensor bars, and sensor bars are detecting RFID text which are on the patch cords. This is what I showed you before on the slide. Here you can see, maybe not so clearly, but here this gray plastic is having inside RFID tag. So everything between panels can be monitored, and also we have new solution which gives us a possibility to monitor active ports as well. So if you have network switch with SFP ports with LC duplex transceivers in it, we can monitor them. And also if we have server on the back of it, there is a transceiver with LC duplex interface, we can also monitor it from the panel to the physical connection in the server. For this is perfect solution for edge computing, for micro data center, which is managed remotely without nobody going there and check something. So this is how the hardware looks like in general. If you will be interested more in IntelliFi, of course, we can make a special presentation on request. And for IntelliFi software, we can also provide demo set or demo access for interested attendees of today's webinar. So please, you can go to our website, find Intellify, and then there is a red button, request a demo. Then you need to provide some information, and then we can provide you the link and login and password, and you can log in into our system and play with the application and check how it works, how it performs. Okay, so there's a lot more to tell about the Intellify, but we have some time limits. So thank you for listening. And now is a part of Michał, which now tell you more about some other products, mostly for IoT devices. So thank you very much for now.
Welcome again. Another product that needs a special attention is the U-Box. It's a small box that can be used in many places, but I will tell you about this on the next slides. As you can see, in the attached picture, we have a whole U-Box family in our offer. They have different dimensions depending on the needs. So everyone can find their U-Box, but depending on their actual needs. Here I have some. Here I have some small, one of the smallest U-Box on my hand. This is very small U-Box which have two 45 places. This U-Box is for Mosaic standard. This is 45 on 45 millimeters, and on the every single every single back you can put two inserts in Mosaic standard. The size of the U-Box is hidden in the name. This number tells us the dimension of our box. The U-Box can be equipped with Mosaic standard, as I told you previously. The first two force tells us about the number of standard Mosaic inserts that can be installed on the single wall of the box. Number tell includes the height of our box. 10 means Mosaic standard. 15 will be meaning 1.5 Mosaic standard. This slide shows us detailed sizes of the boxes. As you can see, these boxes are not so big, and they can fit everywhere when you want. In the next picture, you can see a different configuration of the screens of the U-Boxes. These screens fit for different sizes of U-Boxes. So you can put on the walls, in the walls, this screen which you actually need. This screen can be equipped with different media, for example, power supply, connection modules with different categories, and cable entries, as you can see in this U-Box. Here we can see cable entry. Here we can see some power supply. Here we can see place for connection modules. So every single wall is equipped with different media. Boxes have many applications. They can be used as a consolidation point under the raised floor. They can be used as a power point for example, DALI laminars. It can be also used as a consolidation point with LAN router. The media can be mixed in this box. The power supply and the transmission can be contained in the one box. To combine this media, we have to use a special barrier to do this. Then we have a clear separation of power and data cable. With using a special connectors visible in the picture, two boxes can be connected together. So if you need to connect these two boxes together, you can do that. Horizontal installation and connection is also possible, but you need to use different connector to connect horizontally these two U boxes. As you can see, this box can be used in many places, and it is the biggest advantages of these boxes. Is universal platform, compact design, high packing density, and efficient installation, for example. Next product which I want to show you is FM45. This is FM45 is field terminated RJ45 plug, shielded and unshielded. This product is suitable for solid and stranded wires, thanks to IDC termination technology, which gives us very good contact. A big advantage is the use of the most common and known RJ45 standard. The installation of this plug is very fast and very easy. However, it is not a toy. It is a very good connector that meets all the requirements of the standard. And in edge computing, this is a very good product, because if some connection will break, then we can fix this connection very fast. If we have some connectors, some plugs in our pocket. The next slide shows the full FM45 portfolio. The standard plug can be fitted with housing, which can, for example, increase the IP protection of our connector. We have two angled housings, some angled housings which can be used in installations too. The product is available in two categories, category 5E and category 6A. In some places, it's very easy to use an angled housing, so that's why we have this option too in our offer. The FM45 is also ideal for POE installations. thanks to IDC termination. Yeah, that's what I told previously. IDC termination is giving us very good contact. That's why we can use this product for PoE connections up to type 4 of the PoE 4. You can certify connections with FM45. One connector links can be certified. You can get a 25-year system warranty on this type of links. So this is not a tool. Currently, such connections for certification must be measured in channel. From one side, you have to use patch core for measure, and from the second side, where you have this FM45 field, you have to put directly to the device, and then you can get 25-year warranty. And now Wojciech will tell you about field potent fiber optic connector, which is FO field 220.
Okay, thank you so much, Michał. Thank you for the presentation. Okay, the last part is for me, and this is here. I would like to present you our connector, field fiber optic field terminable connector, which is very useful in the places where going with the splicing machine will be quite challenging. For example, on the top heights for summer. Or if the product which we want to have on the installed on the wall is not designed to store enough storage of the fiber. So we have just 20 centimeters, for example, 20 centimeters of fiber going out from the wall or from some channel on the wall, and that's it. And to go with the splicer in such a place is not possible, but it's possible to put on such fiber our connector. And let me present you the connector. So this is at the moment this is version 2.0, but telling true, this is the third version of the connector, improved from the previous ones. And as I mentioned, this connector is good enough with the attenuation and return loss. So we can tell that this this connector can replace the necessity of splicing pigtails to cables, to fibers. And thanks to the connector, we can go with the fiber optic to the places where usually it will be challenging with splicing machine or other techniques. And the connector is fulfilling upcoming requirements because this the standard which you can see on the top of the slide is not finished yet, but values of attenuation and return loss are already known, and we are sure that our connector is fulfilling all of this. So with our connector, the attenuation will never exceed 0.5 dB, and typical value is 0.25 dB, so half of it or half of this. So this is a really good result. Additionally, for return loss improvement, we have special shape of the fiber, which is inside of the connector already installed in our factory. Thanks to that, RL is improved, so we can achieve at least 45 dB of return loss for multi-mode and 60 dB for single mode. So this upcoming standards are already fulfilled by this connector. And we have two types of connectors, SC and LC, and for both types of fibers, for multi-mode and single mode. And this connector can be installed on any size of fiber, I mean that it can be installed on 600 micrometers, 900 micrometers jacket, and also with additional small extension or jacket on the fiber, we can put this directly on 250 micron fiber going on from loose tube usually. As all our portfolio of connectors, like pigtails or fiber optic patch cords, this connector is also graded according to standard, which gives to the customer, gives the information what will be the maximum value of attenuation and return loss when we are taking to consideration the front of the connector. So this is according to standard. A very important feature here in this connector is that it can be reterminated multiple times, and we are giving the warranty that 5 times it can be reterminated without losing the quality or losing the attenuation. Many connectors similar to this on the market, when you install it, then if you are not happy with the result of attenuation, you have to cut it out and throw it away. With our, you can dismount it, prepare fiber again, and install it again. So installer is not losing the money because of his mistake, for example. And we have here a special butterfly design for cables with larger diameter, like patch cord cables with 2 or 3 millimeter in diameter. And using this butterfly clamp, we can provide a really strong connection between the cable and the housing of connector. So cable is not rotating against the connector, so we can feel safe that this connection will be not broken even if the cable is moving. So what are the advantages? The most important ones from my experience is that it can be the people can be trained really quickly compared with the using splice machine. For splice machine, also some more experience usually is required. For fiber optic connectors like this, we need to have around 1 or maybe maximum 2 hour training, and we can, during the training, train around 8 people simultaneously, and everybody can really feel how the installation should be performed to achieve the values which I showed you on previous slides. So this is really something unique, especially compared with other solutions on the market. And this, because of the size and ease of installation, it can be used in any place. I will show you the values of the environment in which can be used. For this connector, it's not required to have any special device. Everything is done by the fingers of the installer. Of course, it is of installer. Of course, some tools are needed to prepare the fiber, and then but for the installation of the fiber into connector, just fingers are necessary to have, as for other types of installations. So here, installer can buy our own tool set, which is including the cleaver, the strippers, and more and other accessories. But it is not necessary, because installer if he already have some tools for fiber optic technique, in most cases he can use it, and he can use the tools. So no additional investment is necessary to do by the installer. And also what we are doing, at least here in Poland, when customer is ordering such connectors, we can borrow him our tool set, so he can go and make installation. If we have, for example, 12 or 20 or 50 connectors to install, he can do this by using our toolset without necessity to buy it already. And as I mentioned, there is no special tools in the toolset. There is you can find their typical tools for fiber optic installation, like stripper, like fiber cutter, and some cleaning wipes with alcohol on it to clean the fiber before termination. And the tool, the most interesting point of the installation is that we can understand if the fiber is placed into the connector correctly by checking what is going on in the window on the connector. The small red window is showing the light of the laser, which should be connected to the connector during the installation. And if we will slide in the fiber, we should observe that the light is not spreading out anymore through the window, because this is a sign that light is going into the fiber. So this is positive information. Then we can just click the button, and by doing that, connector is terminated. And the last part which we need to do is to slide the clamp to close the connector, close the mechanism which is holding the jacket of the fiber on place. As I mentioned before, this connector can be installed on most of the fibers types. I mean here different types of jackets, 600 millimeters or 900 millimeters without any problems. Connector as it is can be used, but in case of 250, we are recommending to use additional small jacket, which we need to slide in on the fiber to a little bit make it thicker, so the protection then against pulling it out from the connector is much better. And yeah, sorry, thanks to that, the connector is installed without any special tools and without any special termination tools. It can be installed anywhere on the places which are not so accessible as a typical LAN cabinet, for example, or typical outlet. So this is a big advantage. Another advantage of it is that products which can be used to then to put this connector into can be really simple. No sophisticated outlets with storage for fiber are necessary to have. Just simple outlet. Even outlets for copper connectors can be used here. Then we need to remember to not make too long fibers going out from the cable, and that's it. We can use even our copper outlets, for example, Mosaic 45 to 45 with special holder for LC duplex adapter or for SC or E2000 adapter, and we can terminate and put then after that the connector into the copper outlet and use fiber optic connectivity, fiber optic connection in such plate. And another advantage on the end is that after the installers are trained correctly, they can go simultaneously and make installation. Usually in the company are 2 splicing machines or maybe even 1 splicing machine, so only 2 persons can perform the work. Here with the connector, we can send even, for example, 12 persons simultaneously to the building to make installation. Of course, they will need to have tools, but still the set of tools for 12 people will be cheaper sometimes than buying professional splicing machine, which is providing the correct parameters of the splices. I hope you like the presentation, in general today, our presentation. And if you want to more know about FO field, I can recommend you to go to our YouTube channel. You can find R&M YouTube channel. And then in video, you can search for FO field. Then you will see the movie which represents how this connector is installed. So you will understand how easy it is, and that this connector is really toolless. Okay, thank you very much for listening. Sorry for extending the time of the webinar, but we are still practicing with this video transmission. And now is the time for the questions. So if you have any questions, please you can use your keyboard, put it, and Michał can read it to me, and then we'll try to answer. So at the moment, no questions. Okay, no questions so far. So I think that we can wrap up and finish the webinar. Okay, so again, thank you very much for coming to our webinar, joining to our webinar. I hope that you will be interested in our other topics in the future, as we have quite a long list of topics which we would like to present in the future, but it will be, of course, next year in 2021. I'm sure that our distributor, Synergia, which invited you for this event, will also invite you for other our events, so you will be able to decide to join or not. So again, thank you so much for listening, and I hope that we will see or hear each other in the future.
From my side, I would like to thank. From my side, I would like to thank you that you participated in this webinar. I hope that you liked it, and I hope that you will join to us in the future. That was our one of first webinar which was managing in this way. So we hope that you like it, and in the future, I hope that will be better. So thank you so much, and have a nice day.
Okay, thank you so much. Goodbye.
Goodbye.